Welcome to the 175, a channel dedicated to free thinking, clear thinking, and, of course, common sense. Today's topic is the recent announcement by Fil A to end their charitable giving to Salvation Army and, of course, FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes. As it turns out, the media probably got it wrong. Some of my friends that own Fil A franchises, etc., have told me that all they were trying to do is show a new direction since the old direction was coming to an end. As I understand it, there's a multi-year contracts for these foundational charitable giving trust type things, and that Salvation Army and FCA, among I think several hundred others, were all coming to an end. And Fil A had decided that they were going to try hard not to enter into these multi-year, long-term giving things, rather turn it more over to the local Fil A entrepreneurial person and have them decide that, and that the foundation itself would, focus on three fairly non-controversial issues, even though the homelessness one bothers me for a different reason. Here's the problem with all of that. Fil A, unfortunately, doesn't understand their place, I guess, in the right-oriented thinking in both political and normative senses, and in the Christian community. They believe that they obviously are just any other company, but it's not true. The company itself represents standing up against an agenda that wants to literally brainwash, change the minds of little kids into transgenderism and drag queens and libraries and 100 other things that are really antithetical to the conservative viewpoint, let alone the conservative Christian. Therefore, when they stand up and they launch different products, etc., and get hammered from the left, the right stood up for them. Well, I can honestly say this PR mess that they've created, and they must have new management or something. Can't imagine the old management putting up with this, or new owners or something. Something's different at the top. Just let them know that there's a backlash that would form, because people do get kind of tired of being pushed around and bullied around by the LGBTQ advisor type folks, the left in particular, the Pelosi crowd, the Schumer crowd, the Schiff crowd. They all seem to be very bully-oriented towards anybody that has a different view than themselves. You can see this on the different FaceTime and Facebook and Instagram and 100 other things that you see on college campuses whenever a conservative group tries to even speak or bring in a speaker that might challenge the status quo. Because the left owns the education world, the NEA is in the back pocket of the DNC, and because universities, as a general rule, are publicly funded, and therefore they have to follow this, for some ungodly reason, a non-Christian viewpoint, worldview, then often people that exclude that view are in fact excluded, which irritates me in no uncertain terms. It seems to me that Fil A has played into the hand of that, and just looks, perception sometimes is stronger than reality. It looks like they've caved into the LGBTQ protesters, people who are just bullying people literally outside their own shops. Case in point is the London fiasco, where the Fil A, the international one in Europe, is opened, and 6 months later they are considering closing because the lease owner will not renew that lease. And it sounds like a reaction coming on the heels of something like that. They used to say in management, timing is everything, and one wonders if the CFA management people, the leaders, not the owner people that run the little shops, but the owners understand, the big boys, the executive directors, understand that they do need to be careful of their timing. This decision seems to me to be an awful decision, very on the really like the likes of Coke, New Coke. I remember when the Coca-Cola folks decided that they wanted to be more like Pepsi, because Pepsi is making some inroads, even though Coca-Cola dwarfed them by 7 times. Pepsi was 7 times smaller than Coke. And they changed their brand from the way it was to what they called New Coke, and that didn't last long. A whole slew of people were fired, and they went back to something called the Coke Classic, which was their effort to bring it back to normal. So anyway, there's an agenda out there to silence all speech, especially that of the conservatives. It comes from the left, who, they monitor the whole concept of tolerance, but it's not true at all. There is no tolerance whatsoever, and in fact, it's becoming worse and worse and worse. So you may not even have a job if you, in fact, think biblically. That's it for the 175. Sad day for me, anyway. It makes me sad, the whole thing. We'll talk to you later.